Hey everyone, it's time for another Will I Buy It? It has been a while since I chatted about new makeup releases on my channel, and some interesting products have been released the past days that I wanted to talk about. This is a series on my channel where I talk about new makeup releases, if I maybe want to buy them or not at all. I just think it's fun to talk about new makeup products and to share my feelings without having to buy them right away. So let's get right into it. I always make use of a few different Instagrams that have makeup news. I always link them down below, so if you're interested in where I get this news, then you can click those links and see the pages for yourself. I'm just gonna scooch a little bit so I can put up some pictures over here of what I'm talking about and you can see what the new releases are. So first up we have this new Colourpop wine themed palette. I have to say, for me this is one of the most interesting releases by Colourpop from like the last 2 or 3 months. I think it is quite an interesting palette. I do love the color story in this. I love to use kind of wine toned eyeshadows in winter. The swatches of this palette also look really good whenever I see swatches of them. I don't see them here right now, but I also feel like there's quite a good range of eyeshadow tones in this palette. You have lighter shades, you have darker shades, you have some nice shimmers. I'm kind of interested in this one, but I don't think I'm gonna buy it right now. I also think it's out of stock on the Colourpop website. It was released when I was in my no-buy, so I didn't even think about getting this, and now it's out of stock. So we'll see when it gets back into stock if I still feel like wearing these kind of tones, because this is not something that I would really wear in the summer, more so in the winter. So it's kind of nice. I do think the packaging could be done a little bit better. I don't really like the print on the front, but I do really like these shades, and I also saw some pretty good reviews, so I'm slightly interested in this one, but it really depends on when this restocks. Maybe there's a sale, we'll see. By the way, I decided that I'm not really gonna talk about things that I'm really not interested in at all anymore. There are just a lot of things here that are kind of like meh to me, like not extremely bad, not good, not really interesting. I don't really care about it, and I'm not really here to give you all the makeup news. I just want to talk about what I find interesting, and that can be a good thing or a bad thing. So I'm gonna be skipping a few things here and there and narrow it down a little bit more, because there are just some things that I don't really have an opinion about, some things that I really don't feel like talking about, and then I feel like there's not really a point to talking about it. So let's continue. We have 2 quads by Juvia's Place. I think these have been out for a few weeks. They are 2 collabs, and one is with Fumi and one is with Melissa. One is more blue toned with a green, and one is more like pinky purple, kind of berry. And there's also a glass. They also both got a glass, and the palettes are each $10. I do think these look kind of interesting. I do like the shades in here, but I just feel like it wouldn't be worth it because they have these pressed glitters. If you have only 4 shades and 1 or 2 are pressed glitters and you don't use those a lot, I just feel like I wouldn't use these palettes a lot. I wouldn't grab for them. I did see some good reviews. I do like the colors. I don't know. I do feel like the more purpley pinky berry quad, it would be more for me. If I would pick one of them up, it would probably be that one. I think if that wouldn't be a glitter, I probably would have ordered it. But now I just don't feel like it's perfect, and I just have a lot of eyeshadow palettes and I don't know if this would add enough. I did see some good reviews and they kind of made me doubt myself, like should I get it? Maybe, but I don't want to buy it just because of good reviews. I also want to buy it because I like the colors and I feel like it would add something, because there's just so much good makeup out there and I can't buy everything that's good. So maybe one day I might pick up the 1 quad. I'm kind of on the fence about it. That one only has 1 glitter. It has some nice shades. I think for now it's a no. Then we have this Clinique Cheek Pop highlighter. It's really cute. It's like a cute little cow, and behind the cow you can see kind of the embossing of flowers. I think Clinique always does a really good job with the embossing in their powders. It always looks really cute. It always has these nice flowers and they always almost get me, but then the colors are often a little bit off. This one is just too gold. I also don't know if it would be easy for me to get this. It's coming to the US soon, so I don't even know if this would come to Europe. It's just I just think it's really cute, but I don't need this. It's not for me, and I'm not sad that I probably can't get it. That embossing is just really nice. Okay, so we have this MAC Lunar New Year limited edition, and I'm kind of on the fence about it. I don't think I would buy any of this, but it's kind of interesting and ugly at the same time to me. I don't know, the packaging is just a little bit weird to me, a little bit too much, a little bit too much different colors. It's just a little bit too bright. I don't think it looks classy anymore. I do think that the embossing with the fish looks quite interesting, but I don't know if I would really want it in my highlight. I do remember that last year that they had this dragon embossing in their highlight, and I really liked how that looked. Also, I think this is the shade they always have in every limited edition, and yeah, this is the double gleam highlight, and it's a beige highlight, and it's just in every limited edition. I feel like everybody who wants this already has this. So then do they expect you to buy this one again just for the embossing in a limited edition? I think it would be better if they would just think of some new products to put in their limited editions. But I think that's just what they are doing right now. They always have the same lipstick shades that they already have in their permanent collection, and then they always have the same highlighter shades that they also already have in their permanent collection. So it's nothing new, it's just the packaging. So I just feel like they kind of missed the mark with their limited editions nowadays. And I also think that's one of the reasons that people aren't that interested in MAC anymore. They're just recycling and not doing anything new. So we have this Buxom White Russian collection, and I have to say it looks kind of cheap. It looks like drugstore. It doesn't look like it's an expensive brand. The White Russian Eye and Cheek palette is $39, but if I wouldn't see the name, if the name would be covered and you told me this was Essence, I would have believed you. It's just nothing interesting, very bland, very light. I don't know if it was the best idea to base an eyeshadow palette on such a light, milky lip gloss shade. So even though I kind of like these kind of shades from time to time, this looks really boring to me. So we have these Wet n Wild new Color Icon eyeshadow palettes. I have to say, I never tried one of the Wet n Wild Color Icon eyeshadow palettes because I hated the look of the packaging. I thought it looked so cheap. I just didn't find it attractive at all. I didn't even care about the quality. I just wasn't interested in that kind of packaging. For me, sometimes packaging can really make or break a product, especially when it comes to drugstore and it looks really cheap. So I think it's good for them that they upgraded the packaging and it looks a lot better. I have to say I really like how this looks a lot more, and I think it's good for them that they did this. I still don't think I would order a palette. Wet n Wild is just not a brand I was ever interested in, and I still don't feel like this is enough. So next up we have this Natasha Denona launch with I Need a Nude lip crayons. I only have one product from Natasha Denona, and that is an eyeshadow palette. It's the Mini Glam eyeshadow palette, and I really enjoy that one, and I really love the aesthetics of her brand. I'm always kind of interested in what she releases, but it's also kind of expensive, so I don't feel like I would just order something right away. I am kind of interested in this, but I don't know if it's really special enough for me to pay the price. I think maybe I would prefer getting something else from the brand, but I do think this looks really interesting. I do love the shade range. I love the packaging. It does give me like the feels, like it looks like quite a nice launch. I probably would like to have one, but it's just a bit too expensive for me. It's like $10 for a lip liner is already quite expensive in my eyes. I do have some more expensive lip liners, but I don't really feel like I need this. So if there are some videos about it, I will probably watch it, but I don't feel like I would pick something up, although I think it's quite an interesting release. I also just think that her lipsticks look really nice. There's just something, the vibe of those lipsticks, the packaging, it just looks really nice. I love the shade range. Maybe one day if I can see it in a Sephora. There's no Sephora in the Netherlands, but maybe if I can go abroad again and I would see it in real life and I would see a really interesting shade, maybe I would pick something up, but for now it's a no. So then we have these new Christian Dior Spring 2021 trios. I did think they looked really interesting when I saw them at first. I already knew I wasn't gonna buy them, but I did really like the embossing in them. Just the flowers and the colors together, it looks really springy, it looks really cute, it looks really stylish. So when I first saw that they released this, I was kind of like, ooh, interesting. But then I saw some really bad reviews and I'm completely fine with not having these. I just think they look very nice, the packaging and the embossing. But if it's so expensive and the quality isn't there, I'm not even gonna think about it. It's not for me. And probably if you are interested in it, just watch some reviews and then make your decision. Then we have this new e.l.f. Cosmetics release and they kind of are launching this mint collection. They have 2 little eyeshadow palettes with the mint theme and they also have some skincare. I do like the look of these eyeshadow palettes, and if I would know that I liked the formula, then maybe I would pick it up if it would come to the Netherlands, but I know I don't like this formula. I think it's just mediocre, it's okay. I have the purple one. I think it's something like acai or something like that. And one of the shades of that eyeshadow palette just crumbled. It just fell apart in my drawer. I didn't do anything weird with it. So I'm really disappointed in that. But also the formula is just nothing special. I'd rather spend my money on something else, even if it's a little bit more expensive. It just felt so cheap to me. So I do like these color stories, but it's not for me. So I thought I was filming, but I apparently wasn't. So I was just talking about the new BH Cosmetics palette that is part of the Birthstone Collection. Every month they're gonna come out with a new palette. It's only $9. So this one is the palette for January and they're gonna do this throughout the year. When I first saw this, I scrolled right past it. I didn't even realize it was something new or potentially interesting, and I still feel like it's kind of boring. But because it's BH Cosmetics and it's gonna be a series, I'm gonna keep an eye on it, but this one is just not interesting enough for me. Then we have this new Milani palette. It looks kind of interesting. I do like the green and the purple together, but there's also a lot of kind of nudie shades. I don't think it's enough for me. I've never really tried the Milani eyeshadow formula, and this color story is just not interesting enough. It still feels a little bit jumbled. I still feel like there are quite a lot of shades in there that I wouldn't really use. Maybe if it was a bit more condensed and then you had the greens and the purples together, I would be more interested. Yeah, I think if this were more colorful and it had less of those kind of repetitive nude shades, I would be more interested in it. But this is just not what I'm looking for. I also don't want to add that much more eyeshadow to my collection. I have enough eyeshadow palettes. There are so many beautiful eyeshadow palettes. So if I don't feel like it's perfect and it's really what I want, then I'm not gonna think about it more. So next up is the new addition to the Ambient Lighting family by Hourglass. It's the Ambient Lighting Palette Volume 2. And this is catered towards darker skin tones. And I actually think it's really good that they are finally listening to their customers, because people have been asking for darker shades in their formula for a really long time. And I think it took them too long. But at least this is a step in the right direction. I still saw that there were some mixed feelings about it. Some people feel like it's a lot better. Some people feel like it's just not enough. I just hope that they're gonna be coming out with more products that are catered toward darker skin tones. At least something is happening now. Then we have this MAC The Sims palette. I don't understand this. This is the most boring color story I've ever seen. It's all so mid-tone. There's just nothing about it that makes me think of The Sims. It's like they just put The Sims name on the packaging and called it a day. I just think once again this is a really lazy limited edition by MAC, and I just want to mention it because I was so shocked when I saw the inside with this packaging. Then we have another Colourpop launch. And I thought that was actually kind of interesting because they revealed the new Lovestruck 5-pan palette collection. So they have 5 5-pan palettes. So these are smaller palettes. I think it's good that they are coming out with some smaller palettes. They have been really focusing on the 9-pans. But I think it's also very nice for a brand to have some smaller palettes in their collection. They have various color stories. Some cool toned nude, some warm toned nude, some fiery colors, some berry colors, and some grayish colors. I do like the colors that they picked. For now, there's not a palette in this collection that really speaks to me, that I really would like to have. But I do think it's nice that they are coming out with smaller palettes. And I just think that a lot of people will appreciate it that they came out with 5 pans. So this is interesting. I'm gonna see what else they come out with in this format. Okay, in my opinion, this is one of the most interesting releases of this past week, and that is the BH Cosmetics Lost in Los Angeles eyeshadow palette and the Aspen Face palette with 6 highlighters. I do think this really looks interesting. It looks like a nice spring release. We have some really pretty pastel shades. This made me go like, ooh, right away, but I don't think I should buy this. This is the kind of thing that I'm always interested in. I love pastel shades. I love this combination of neutral shades and colorful shades, but I feel like I already have these types of shades. So because this is really like my style, I feel like I already have it. But I'm still kind of interested in it. I'm just gonna watch some reviews, see what other people think about it. I personally do really like this release. I think the highlighter palette is just a little bit too colorful for me. I don't think I would wear those shades a lot. I think I would end up wearing just 2 shades and then kind of forgetting about the rest. So that's not worth it for me. But I do like this launch. Then I know, or at least I feel like a lot of people have been waiting for this, and that is, so my card was full, so I'm not really sure where I was, so I will just say again what I said last. So Melt has revealed that the blueprint stack is actually going to be an eyeshadow palette, and I feel like a lot of people have actually been waiting for this, and I think a lot of people will be interested in this, but I personally don't really get Melt. Well, on the one hand I do understand it, on the other hand I just don't. I do really love their packaging and their color story, and I understand that people are interested in that. But their formula is just so hit and miss. There are so many bad palettes by Melt out there, and I just feel like you never know what you're gonna get. It could be good, it could be bad. So I'm not really gonna make any decisions about this until I see some reviews. And I also just feel like the brand is kind of expensive. It's on the more expensive side. So that's also why I wouldn't just buy a palette without really knowing if the quality is good. I'm generally a little bit on the fence about Melt. I haven't really tried them. I'm just gonna see some reviews and then probably I still won't buy it. Let me just see if there is some indie makeup I still want to talk about. I only see a lot of sneak peeks that I don't have a lot to say about just yet, so I don't think I'm gonna talk about that. There's just one last thing I wanted to talk about that I haven't really seen on any of the Makeup News Instagrams, and that is these new Give Me Glow eyeshadows. These are not released yet, and I'm not sure when they're gonna come, but they posted some different pictures of eyeshadow swatches, and they asked if people would be interested in them because they are a little bit more expensive. So we have this shade called Glamorous. It's like this really extremely shiny champagne, and if they would release this it would be $10, and I just think this looks really interesting, and maybe I would want to try one of these shades because they look very shiny. Apparently they have very special pigments in them, and I just think it looks very shiny and beautiful, and who knows, I'm gonna see when they will release it and just how I feel about it then. I'm just eyeing this, but probably I'm not gonna buy it right away. I especially love this shade called Roses Remix. It's like this rosy tone, but it's still quite nude, and it's just so extremely shiny. It just looks so nice. And I also just wanted to show you this shade called Electric Unicorn. It's like a really shiny multi-chrome. This wouldn't be for me because I'm not that into multi-chromes, but I do think a lot of people are gonna love this. And the very last thing for this video is that they are sneak peeking their pastel eyeshadow palette, and I'm very curious what this will look like. And I think this packaging just looks really nice, and I think I might be kind of interested in this palette. It kind of depends. I'm gonna see how I feel about it when they release it. So that was everything for today's video. Let me know in the comments how you feel about these releases. Do you agree with me? Do you not agree with me? I would love to know. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like this video if you liked it, and please subscribe to my channel, and I will see you in my next video. Bye bye!